Hi everyone, so I'm back with another song review, and today I'm talking about a Celine Dion song from 1992 called Water from the Moon. There is something heartbreaking about Celine Dion's Water from the Moon because the woman singing this song is not wondering whether she should love this man. She already knows. She wants him. The problem is that no matter how hard she tries, she cannot make him love her back. And that is what gives the song its wonderfully exaggerated title, Water from the Moon. The narrator has reached the point where she is essentially asking, what else do you want from me? I've done everything I know how to do. Do I have to perform an impossible miracle now? The song was written by Diane Warren, one of the most successful songwriters in popular music. Water from the Moon is a good example of her ability to take an enormous romantic emotion and turn it into one simple, unforgettable idea. How much more can I possibly do to make you love me? The song appeared on Celine Dion's self-titled English language album released in 1992. The album was an important step in Dion's growing international career and included songs such as If You Asked Me To, Nothing Broken But My Heart, and Love Can Move Mountains. Water from the Moon was produced by Guy Roche, who also handled arrangement and keyboards. One especially interesting detail in the credits is that Diane Warren herself sings background vocals on the recording, and you might not notice it beneath Dion's enormous lead vocal and the dramatic production, but the songwriter is part of the vocal texture behind the singer. The musicians include Bruce Gage on guitar, Robbie Buchanan on piano, Jimmy Johnson on bass, and Jeffrey C. Benson and Guy Roche on keyboards. The recording was made at several studios, including The Plant, Citrion, Bunny Hop, Sherman Oaks, and Ocean Way. There was built this was built as a substantial early 90s pop ballad designed to give Dion room to do what she did so well, take a simple romantic premise and make it feel enormous. Listen to what the narrator is actually saying. She has searched everywhere for a clue. She has chased after this man. She has tried to find a way to get through to him. She's exhausted, but she has not given up. That's important. She's not saying he doesn't love me, so I'll walk away. Not yet. She is still trying to figure out what she has missed. She's essentially saying, tell me what you want me to do. Because if you tell me what it takes, she'll try. And that is when the song becomes almost comical in its desperation. What could possibly be left? She has already done everything she knows how to do, so she starts imagining impossible accomplishments. Get water from the moon, turn the sand into the sea, reach into the sky and steal the stars. These are not literal requests, they are exaggerations. The language of someone who has reached the limit of ordinary effort. She's saying, I have done everything a human being can reasonably do. Apparently that still isn't enough, so what am I supposed to do now? Perform a miracle? And that is why the title is so clever. Getting water from the moon is not merely difficult, it's impossible in the world the narrator inhabits. She's using an impossible task as a symbol for the impossible standard she feels this man has created. She is willing to go to the moon. She is willing to chase the stars. She is willing to do the impossible. But there is one thing she cannot manufacture, his love. You can demonstrate your love. You can give someone your time, affection, understanding, and sacrifices. You can tell them how you feel and give them everything you believe they want, but you cannot reach into another person and flip a switch that says, now you love me. That decision belongs to them. The narrator seems to believe there must be something else she can do, a different gesture, another sacrifice, another way to prove herself. That may be one of the most painful experiences in unrequited love. You keep thinking that if you could just find the right words or actions, the other person would suddenly see what you see. Everything would click. They would finally understand and they would fall in love. But sometimes there is no missing action, no secret praise, no magic gesture. Sometimes you could literally bring someone water from the moon and it still would not make them love you. That desperation is reflected in the music. The song is a dramatic pop rock ballad with the kind of large scale production that suits Dion's powerful voice. The arrangement gives her room to build. She begins with frustration, then the questioning becomes more intense, and finally the chorus turns into that central question, into an emotional explosion. What do I have to do? The repeated question becomes more obsessive because she is not asking casually. She is desperate for an answer. Celine Dion was an extraordinary vocalist with this kind of material. She could take a sentence that sounded conversational on paper and turn it into a declaration. Diane Moore provided the emotional premise, and Dion gave it enormous scale. The song was released as a single in early 1993, becoming the fifth single from the album in the United States. In Canada, it was issued to radio. It reached number 7 in Canada and number 11 on the US Adult Contemporary chart. The single also received a music video with surreal visual concept. There were two versions. The original was filmed in black and white, with the revised version adding a sepia tone. The video places Dion in a small town setting filled with images of everyday life, including a church, a pier, a telephone booth, and a beach. A young man watches her, and the surreal imagery eventually brings Dion directly into his world before the story becomes darker. That surrealism fits the song because its imagery is emotionally realistic but deliberately impossible. You cannot run circles around the sun. You cannot steal the stars. You cannot turn the sand into the sea. And you certainly cannot scoop water off the moon. But when you are desperately trying to make someone love you, that is exactly how you feel. You feel as though you are being asked to perform miracles. You start thinking, what else can I give? What else can I prove? What else do I have to become? Why isn't what I'm already giving enough? Love can make intelligent people irrational. It can make us overanalyze every interaction and believe there must be some secret combination of words and actions that will unlock another person's heart. But love is not a safe. There is no combination. You cannot keep spinning the dial until it opens. Another person has to want to open the door. And perhaps that is the hidden story of Water from the Moon. The narrator thinks she is asking, what must I do to make you love me? But the listener can hear the answer she has not accepted. There may be nothing left for you to do. Not because she has not tried hard enough, not because she has not proven herself, not because she's not worthy of love, but because another person's feelings cannot be forced into existence. And that's what makes the song sadder than its extravagant imagery suggests. She's not really complaining about having to fetch water from the moon. She's saying, I'll do anything you want, just tell me what it takes. And the terrible possibility is that there is nothing she can do. So she could reach the moon, she could bring back the water, she could turn the desert into an ocean, she could steal every star from the sky, and if he does not love her, he just does not love her. That is one thing that she cannot accomplish for him. By the end, the repeated pleas have become almost a battle cry. She keeps trying, asking, and pushing because emotionally she has not reached acceptance. She's still bargaining, and that is what makes Water from the Moon so interesting. It's not simply a song saying, love me. It's saying, how far would you go to be loved by someone who does not seem capable of loving you back? And then it gives us the most outrageous possible answer. As far as the moon, as far as the stars, as far as the impossible. Because when you love someone who does not love you back, sometimes the hardest thing is to accept that you have failed to do enough, and that there may be nothing left to do. You cannot earn somebody else's feelings through exhaustion. You cannot negotiate someone into falling in love. You cannot perform enough miracles to manufacture another person's heart. That is why the title is so unforgettable. Water from the Moon sounds romantic, mysterious, almost magical, but underneath that beautiful image is a woman saying something painfully simple. I've done everything I can. What more do you want from me? And if the answer is water from the moon, perhaps the problem was never that she was not trying hard enough. Perhaps she was simply being asked for something no human could possibly provide. Diane warranted the impossible and turned it into a metaphor for impossible expectations. Guy Ropes surrounded the idea with a grand, dramatic early 90s pop production, and Celine Dion gave the words the voice of someone who desperately wants an answer. She wants to know what she has to do. She wants to know what she has missed. She wants to know what it will take, and she keeps trying until finally the only thing left to ask is the most impossible question of all. Do I have to get water from the moon just to make you love me? Because sometimes the greatest romantic effort in the world still cannot accomplish the one thing we want most. We can give somebody everything we have, but we cannot give them a feeling they do not possess. And no matter how high we reach or how desperately we try, there are some things that simply cannot be brought down from the moon. So thank you so much for listening to me talk about the song Water from the Moon by Celine Dion. And I hope you enjoyed this. And I do hope to do some more of these sometime soon. Some more song reviews, some more album reviews as well. So stay tuned for all that. And I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye bye.